In this video, we'll be looking at the isUnique interview question in JavaScript. My name is Larry and this is Digital Logic. To get started, you'll need to download the project from GitHub. A link is in the description below. I've also provided a link to the introduction video to the series, which will walk you through setting up your development environment. With that out of the way, let's get started. So I've already got the project open in IntelliJ. So I'll open up the project browser and find the isUnique file. For this challenge, you need to write a function that can determine if a string contains only unique characters. That is, a character can only appear within the string once, ignoring capitalization. Once you have a solution that you're ready to test, you can press Ctrl+ in VS Code to open up a command line, and then type npm test isUnique and press enter. The testing framework will test any function that you export from this file, so you can provide multiple solutions, and the testing framework will test all of them. So go ahead and pause the video here and try to come up with a solution to this challenge. When you're ready to continue, come back here and we'll walk through a couple different solutions. Welcome back. So how can we solve this problem? One potential solution would be if we sort the characters within the string. Then we just have to check the next character to see if they're the same. So I'll start by creating a little bit more space. And then I'll rename this function to sorted. And then clean this up a bit. And then create a constant array equals str.toLowerCase dot match. And then I'll pass in a regex to select every word character with the global flag. You could have used the split method to split the string to an array. It won't make a difference in this problem. And then call sort. So at this point we have an array of single character strings that has been sorted. Now create a for loop, let I equal 0, I is less than array.length minus 1, and then increment I. Now we just need to check if the current character in the array is the same as the next character in the array. So if array at I equals array at I plus 1. If this is the case, then we have two characters that are the same, so return false. If we manage to make it all the way through this for loop without ever returning false, then return true. Save the file, and then open up the terminal to check the test results. And it is passing. So this solution does work, but it's not as efficient as it could be, and the reason is because we have to sort the array of characters first. So I'll start by creating a new function named HashSet. So create a constant strArray equals str.toLowerCase dot match, and then pass in the same regex as before with the global search flag. Now create a new constant charMap equals new set. Now we just need to populate the set with each character in the string. So create a for loop, constant c of strArray. Create an if statement to check if the charMap contains the current character, and if it does, return false. Now if it doesn't, we need to add this character to the hash set, so we'll use the add method. And then if we make it through the for loop without ever returning false, then return true. Make sure to add this new solution to the module exports, then save the file, and open up the terminal to see the test results. And it is passing. So for this next solution, I'll create a new function, and I'll call it initArray. Then I'll create a new constant variable equals the letter A dot charcode at 0. The charcode at method returns an integer representing the UTF-16 code for the given character. In this case, the character A. I'm saving this in a constant so that we can easily access this code later on, and you'll see why in a minute. Next, create another constant, char map equals, and I want this to be an array with 26 elements, all with the value of 0 in it. We have several different options that we can use to create an array with a set number of elements in it. And for this example, I'm going to use the array constructor, and then I'll set the length, the first parameter, to the constructor to the value of 26. There are some very good reasons why the array constructor is discouraged from being used. The main reason is because the constructor is overloaded and it doesn't behave predictably. By passing in a single parameter, the array constructor will return an array where the length property is set to 26, but it doesn't create an array of 26 elements in it. So to finish the job, I'll call .fill, then pass in the value 0. Be careful with using the fill method. If you pass an object into the fill method, you won't get an array filled with n amount of objects, but instead you'll get an array filled with references to the same object. The reason that I created an array with 26 elements in it is because there are 26 letters in the alphabet, and I'm going to use the char map to maintain a character count for each letter in the alphabet. So index 0 will refer to the letter A, 1 to the letter B, 2 to C, and so on. Now we need to iterate through each character in the string. So I'll create a for loop, constant C of str dot to lowercase, and this time I'll use the split method and pass in an empty string. Now create a constant index equals c dot charcode at 0 minus a code. So what I'm essentially doing here is taking the character's Unicode value and subtracting it from the Unicode value of the letter A. This creates an offset so that the letter A will end up at index 0 in the char map array. Now create an if statement to check if the current character has already been included in the char map. If it has, return false. And then we need to increment the counter at this index. And then finally, if we make it through this for loop without ever returning false, return true. Make sure to add this function to the module export list. Then save the file and open up the console to check the test results. And it is passing the test. So in the last solution, I used an init array to maintain a count for each character in the string. But all we really need to know is whether or not a character has already appeared within the string. Technically, we're already doing that in the IntArray solution, because we check if the current index is greater than 0 before we continue to iterate through the string. So we could very easily modify this code so instead of using an array of integers, we're actually using an array of booleans. We can take it a step farther, and instead of using an array of booleans, use a single integer to store the boolean values. This will make it possible to keep track of which characters have already appeared within the string without requiring any additional data structures. So I'll start out by creating a new function, and I'll name it extra credit. And then create a new variable, bit array equals 0. Create a new constant, a code equals the character A dot charcode at 0. This will function as our offset just like in the last solution. Now we just need to iterate through each character in the string, so create a for loop, constant C of str dot, and this time I use match, and then pass in a regex with a global search flag. Now we need to create a bit mask. So constant bit mask equals and C dot charcode at 0 minus a code. This will define the index within the bit array. Now we just need to convert this into a bit mask, and to do that I'll use the left shift operator. So all we're doing here is taking the binary value of 1 and shifting to the left in amount of places. Now that we have our bit mask, we just need to check if this bit has been flipped in the bit array. So create an if statement, pass in bit array using the binary AND operator, and then our bit mask. If the resulting value is not equal to 0, that means that we've already flipped this bit, so return false. Otherwise, we need to flip this bit in the bit array. So bit array pipe equals bit mask. So what we're doing here is we're taking our bit array, ORing it with the bit mask, and then reassigning it back to the bit array. And then finally, if we make it through the for loop without ever returning false, then return true. Make sure to add this function to the module.exports, save the file, and then check the test results. And it passes the test. So you may have noticed that I didn't include a call to lowercase in this solution. Some of the test cases do include capitalized letters, so why is this solution still passing the test? The reason it works is because an integer only has 32 bits in it, so you can only shift a byte 31 places. The shift operator enforces this by applying a bit mask to any value that you provide it. So a lowercase letter and the capital version of that letter end up with the same index. Now you can verify this yourself if you want, but just keep in mind that when you get a negative number, you have to take the 2's complement of that negative number to get the binary value, and then apply the bit mask to get the actual shift distance. But that is beyond the scope of this video. And as a final FYI, all numbers in JavaScript are 64-bit float points. So when you perform a bitwise operation, JavaScript will take that 64-bit float point number and convert it to a 32-bit signed integer to perform the bitwise operation. And then of course, convert it back afterwards. All right, well, that is it for this video. If you like this video, then please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the creation of these videos, then check out my Patreon page. A link is in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.